Good morning. Today is Acts 1:23. So go ahead and see if you can pronounce the Greek. And here's how I would pronounce it. Kai prosuxamenoi epon sukurie cardiognosta panton anadexon hon exalexo. I like that, exalexo. Ek tuton ton duo henna. Okay, now let's see if we can translate it. Here's how I would. And having prayed, they said, quote, "You, Lord, heart knower of all things," or of all people maybe, heart knower of all, show the one whom you chose from these two. One, ... This henna really goes with thought that keeps going. So tomorrow we'll pick up the henna. So anyway, how's that look? And having prayed, they said, quote, "You, Lord, heart knower of all, show the one whom you chose, the one whom you have chosen from these two." One, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Questions? Oh, never mind. Now, so here's the interlinear. Having prayed. So men are passive participles or middle or deponent. In this case, it's deponent because the word is prosukomai. Oh my, this word is deponent. And it's deponent in the vocabulary form. I mean, it has an oh my in the vocabulary form, which means that it is one of these words that is middle or passive in look, but active in its meaning. I don't know why Greek did that, but it does. In this case, it's middle because it's aorist. A xi is a key to the hidden sigma, to a hidden sigma. So we have a hidden sigma alpha. Sigma alpha indicates aorist. It's a participle, so it doesn't have an augment. So if it were aorist passive, it would have some sort of theta, eta, theta epsilon on it, theta epsilon in this case. So we're going to go with aorist middle. Aorist middle participle, nominative masculine plural. Again, notice that praying is a major theme of Luke Acts. Luke Acts emphasize prayer over and over again in places where, say, Matthew and Mark does not. Okay, so and having prayed, they having prayed, apon, they said. So it's aping an aorist. Hopefully you have that memorized as a second aorist, just something that I know is aorist. On is a third person plural ending. Could be apone, but this is a case of I don't know, what do you say, peer pressure or wanna be. I want to be like other aorists. Other aorists have alphas. Why can't I have an alpha too? Normally this would be an omicron, apone. Doesn't need the alpha. But because it wants to look like all the other aorists, he's taken an alpha there. Okay, they said. And having prayed, they said, capital sigma, capital letter indicates in many editions of the Greek New Testament that we have a quote here, a direct discourse. It's called direct discourse. So that's capital sigma. You might know it from math as the summation notation, but summation, it's a sigma. Su is you. You, Lord. The su is unnecessary grammatically because it's in the anadexon has a u in it. Show, you show. This is a second person singular imperative. So we wouldn't need to have a you. The you is there for emphasis. You, Lord. This is a vocative, of course. Kyrie eleison on the road that I must travel. Second person singular vocative. Cardiognosta is a connection, squishing together two words. Cardio, heart. I should do more cardio. And gnosta, know, known or knower. So this is heart knower. Of all things, this is the word for all, and there's the genitive plural of all things. Okay, show. This is an imperative. I'm at the end of this video, I put on the imperative forms. Again, a xi is the key to a hidden sigma. The word here is anadake pneumi, which is a weird word, but there's a k, dake, the k in anadake pneumi crashes with the sigma of the aorist and it becomes a xi. So xi is the key to a hidden sigma. I'll talk about this form in a second. But it is a command, a second person singular command. Show! Now, of course, it's not theological, it's grammatical. We can't command God theologically, but you can ask, you might call this a imperative of entreaty. I think there's actually a grammarian that calls this a imperative of entreaty, because you can't really command God. But anyway, that's kind of theology impinging on grammar. Second person singular imperative, show. The aorist imperative doesn't have any difference in time from the present imperative. Once we get out of the indicative mood, timing is pretty much out the window. Participles do a little, I mean, they're here and there. But so in imperatives, an aorist imperative and a present imperative don't have any difference in time. The difference is in the kind of action. So if this were a present imperative, it might have a more continuous flavor, like be showing the one whom you chose. But that's not what Peter says here. Peter simply commands show, means bleh, just do it. There's no special connotation to the, it's probably the default imperative, because it's just saying do it, just do it, show. And there's no special meaning. Aorist means unmarked. There's no particular nuance to the showing. It's just show. Show the one whom, relative pronoun. That's accusative singular. Whom you chose. That's nice. The grammar's right. It's the object of its little relative clause here. Ex alexo. I like that. Ex alexo. This is a bit of a form again, and I'm going to show you in a second the paradigm here. Just trust me for now. For one, C is the key to hidden sigma, and that is an augment here of this third letter. So you have the preposition that's part of a compound verb, and then you have the augment, and then lexo, and there's a C there. This is aorist. Omega there is deceiving. You're wanting to think, is that first person singular? What is that? But it's actually, in this case, and I'll show you why, a second person singular. Whom you chose. It's a weird form. It's one of those that in beginning Greek I usually tell students, don't worry about this one, you know, it's rare. But here it is. Show the one whom you chose from these the two. In other words, we have Matthias and Judas Barsabbas, the many named other person. One, henna is one here. It is the accusative for the word one. Okay, so there's the interlinear. I've already done the parsing. Let me show you again. Aorist, because of hidden sigma alpha, C is the key to hidden sigma. Sigma alpha, aorist. Men are passive or men are middle participles. In this case, it's a middle participle. It's deponent because it's from prosukomai. Technically, by the way, a word is deponent by principal part. So just because a word is deponent in the present stem doesn't necessarily mean it will be deponent in the aorist principal part. But most of the time it is. So this is prosukomai. It's deponent in the present system, and it's also deponent in the aorist system. Aorist middle deponent participle, oi, nominative masculine plural, prosukomai, to pray. Anadeixon is an aorist. C is the key to hidden sigma. It's an active imperative, as I'll show you in a second. Second singular from anadeiknumi, which is a weird me verb. I didn't look that up. I believe that's right, though. Ex alexo, Francisco, is aorist. C is the hidden sigma. Middle, for reasons I'll tell you in a second. Indicative, just is. Second singular from eklego. And so, okay. So here endeth the verse. However, let me show you a little grammar here. I have two more grammar slides. So here are the second person singular imperative forms in Greek. You just have to memorize them. So these are command forms. Second person singular means I'm commanding one you, Charlie, do this. So it's a singular you. So there's a song that Rory Skelly came up with at Asbury. I think he came up with these, and I've inherited them. Here they are. Lu e, lu san, lu si, lu the ti. Lu e, lu san, lu si, lu the ti. Lu e, lu san, lu si, lu the ti. Lu e, lu san, lu si, lu the ti. It was obviously Christmas when he came up with most of these forms. So these are the present ones. Lue. It makes sense to me that lue would be a lucid. Tommy, lucid. Because it's like well, I don't know that it makes sense, but it reminds me of the vocative. Kyrie eleison, and you usually are addressing someone when you command them. So that's somewhere in my subconscious. Those two have stuck. So lue, loose. Susan, loose. Luu is the middle or passive imperative. Be loosed, or be being loosed. And then the aorist active, lousone. This is the form that we just saw, ana deixon, if I remember correctly. Second person singular aorist active imperative. And then lousai is the aorist middle imperative. Notice that this looks very much like the infinitive, the aorist infinitive, but I think the accent is different. That might help you. And then luthe T, the theta eta tells you it's aorist passive. Luthe T, it's kind of unique form. Be loosed. So those are some second person singular imperative forms that you just have to memorize if you want to, unless you want to look them up. Now here, to end this video, is the aorist middle indicative. So the sigma alpha tells you it's aorist. There's an augment on the front. And the song is Amenu eta, ametha, Amenu eta, ametha, Amenu eta, ametha, este anta. So it's the middle or passive song. Notice there are some variations. For one, the sigma alpha takes over the vowel, but the second person singular was never real to begin with. Amen u eta. The u is the imperfect form. But here's the original form. So theoretically, the actual original ending here was sigma omicron. And we had a little, so what's happened in the aorist middle, so the imperfect middle, in order to come out as oo, amen, oo, in order for it to become oo, it underwent some crashes with a so. But here we have a sigma alpha crashing into a so. Here's what happens. This is called an intercalated sigma, and they don't stick around. There's another place where this happens too, where you have an original so, and you have a sigma in the ending that goes, no, I'm out of here. I don't like to compete with people. So the sigma runs away. We have a crash between an alpha and an omicron. With alpha and omicrons, omicrons win over almost everything. And so the omicron wins the arm wrestling between the alpha and the omicron and gets crowned a long omicron, which is an omega. So this is the second person singular middle, aorist middle ending. Okay, well, little review there for those of you who've had Greek before. And we'll see you, Lord willing, on the morrow.